Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Rigolini Report. I'm your host, Chris Rigolini, Director of Bands at the Highlands Ranch High School. Let's get started today with our joke of the day. I thought I would give you a glimpse into what conductors see while they're on the podium. And that's all there is to it. If you'd like to hear your jokes said on the Rigolini Report, send me a quick email at crigolini@dcsdk12.org. Today we have a very special episode of the report. We're talking about our musical heroes. What is a musical hero, you might ask? It's someone that we look up to as a musician. Another musician who plays our instrument that we would like to sound like, or that we'd like to follow in their footsteps. I've asked all of our students to find their musical heroes this week as their assignment. So I figured if I asked you to find yours, that I should tell you a little bit about some of mine. As you know, I'm a percussionist by trade. And my first musical hero is a percussionist by the name of Keiko Abe. She's a marimba player from Japan. She was born in 1937 and composes the most beautiful marimba music. I was drawn to her music because her music sounds like nature. She takes ideas like Wind Through the Bamboo Forest is the name of one of her pieces, or Droplets on Water, and she makes the marimba sound like those natural phenomenons. It's really cool. And she's right at the forefront of marimba playing in a four-mallet technique. When she was coming up through the ranks in Japan, the idea of a solo marimba was very, very new. So she was one of the first to really bring solo marimba playing to the forefront. She's now a marimba artist who's sponsored by Yamaha, in fact. She's also one of the first people to master 6-mallet marimba playing. Most of us can play with 4 mallets, or we're trained to play with 4 mallets, but she actually can accurately play with 6 mallets. It's really impressive. She uses a non-traditional Burton grip even when she plays 4 mallets. Really cool. Check out this recording of her playing her composition called Prism. My next musical hero is a conductor. In fact, all of my other musical heroes are conductors and teachers. His name is Leonard Bernstein. Yes, I know, I talk about Leonard Bernstein a lot, but it's because he truly is one of my favorite teachers. He was born in 1918 and died in 1990. He's a conductor, a composer, and a teacher. He's most famous for conducting the New York Philharmonic, for composing orchestral pieces, ballets, Broadway musicals, and even a mass. And he's done a couple of movie scores to boot. I really like him because everything he does, he brings this spirit, this energy to it, and he always is teaching. He never misses an opportunity to teach something about music. There's a documentary linked below in the description where he describes his relationship with some of his teachers and how he progressed through music education. It's a really great watch. This recording that you're about to hear is from one of Bernstein's young people's concerts. He recorded them with the New York Philharmonic, and it's just one example of how Bernstein changed orchestral conducting. He brought in young students and young families into the concert hall and taught them something about music. They had no idea what they were showing up to that day, but it was always educational. They also broadcast them all over the nation. This is an earlier one recorded and aired in 1958, where he talks about what music means. Check it out.
Okay, now what do you think that music's all about? Can you tell me? That's just what I thought you'd say. Cowboys, bandits, horses, the Wild West. I know my little daughter, Jamie, who's 5 years old and who's sitting up there, agrees with you. When she heard me play this piece, she said, "Ooh, the Lone Ranger song. Hi-Yo Silver." Well, I hate to disappoint her, and you too, but it really isn't about the Lone Ranger at all. It's about notes, E-flats and F-sharps. You see, no matter how many times people tell you stories about what music means, forget them. Stories aren't what music means at all. Music is never about anything. Music just is. Music is notes, beautiful notes and sounds put together in such a way that we get pleasure out of listening to them. That's all there is to it. And when we ask, what does it mean? What does this piece of music mean? Then we're asking a very hard question. And that's the question we're going to try to answer today.
What a great example of his spirit and his urge to constantly teach. My next musical hero is Marin Alsop. She's a female conductor who was born in 1956, and she's held several positions around the country, most famously here in Colorado at the Colorado Symphony and also at the Baltimore Orchestra. She is the first woman to be appointed to a principal conductor position of a major American orchestra, and she's also the first woman to conduct on the last night of the BBC Proms, which is huge, groundbreaking work that she's been doing. I linked in the description her speech on the last night of the Proms. It's beautiful and really moving. You should check it out. I enjoy her work because she is fearless. Marin Alsop steps onto the podium in front of any orchestra, and it doesn't matter who they are. She's going to teach them something, and she's going to make them sound better. She's not afraid to roll up her sleeves and do the hard work that's required to create beautiful music. I really look up to her because of this. She's also a contemporary of Leonard Bernstein. She studied with him in the 80s. Check out this little clip of Leonard Bernstein teaching Marin Alsop, a world-class conductor, at a conducting workshop in 1987.
Before the piano each time.
Each time, not this time. I think not.
Well,
yes.
Why not?
So.
Why not all the time?
Oh, this is such a surprise. The beautiful and warm.
See,
space.
you cut this off.
Yes.
There's a hole.
Yes. So we try
this
sustain.
way, there's no hole.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little hard.
I know, a little tricky, huh? Well, you stay here, okay?
Also, I do the I do the ornament differently too, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, good, wonderful.
In days to come. All right.
So I'm trying. Am I allowed to tell? I'm trying to no space before we go on to the piano after the first fermata. I think, really, I would have gone to the moon to work with Leonard Bernstein.
It's really cool to see those two together. My last musical hero I'm going to talk about today is Sir Simon Rattle. He's a British conductor born in 1955. He's most famous for holding the principal conductor and music director positions at the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, the Berlin Philharmonic, and now the London Symphony Orchestra. The reason why he is so special is because he started his career so young. He got the position in Birmingham when he was only 25 years old. He ended up staying there for 18 years and completely transformed the orchestra. He brought them from a community orchestra to a world-class powerhouse. He then got the job in Berlin, and after 20 years in Berlin, he is now conducting the London Symphony Orchestra, which we know is one of the world's premier orchestras. He is a rock star in the conducting community, but that's not why I like him. I like him because he's never lost that 25-year-old vitality and that excitement for music. He's like a child discovering music for the first time. Even when he's conducting pieces he's conducted maybe dozens of times. He has such a spirit and an energy when he conducts, and he is always open to his musicians. He's not afraid to put himself out there and to just explore music for the fun of it. He takes music very seriously, but you can see from some of the videos of him rehearsing that he's also enjoying himself. It is hard work that is meant to be done lightly. I admire him greatly for his work, not only with these world-class orchestras, but also with some of his youth orchestras in Berlin. In fact, there's some links in the description from when he was at the Berlin Philharmonic, where he's teaching the youth orchestra from the city of Berlin. Really neat stuff. You should check out some of those links. Sir Simon Rattle is amazing at what he does, but it's the stuff he does off the podium that I admire the most. I look up to him for his spirit, for his energy, and of course, because of his great, warm personality. The last thing I'd like to talk about today is a little bit more personal. It is Teacher Appreciation this week, so I thought it would be appropriate if I thank some of my teachers, some of the people that have really shaped me into the person and the educator that I am today. I want to start with Miss Patty Lowe. She was my high school band director. She's the one that convinced me that I should be teaching music for the rest of my life. She was a strong but kind teacher. She was like a mother to all of us, and we couldn't get away with anything. The other person from those days that I'd like to thank is Mr. Ed Anderson, who I still talk to very often. He was my middle school band director, and he also taught Mrs. Rigolini and I how to play steel drums. Yes, it is all his fault for the steel drums in our lives. Another couple of professors that I'd like to thank are Dr. Joe Jossam and Dr. Martin over at DU. You've met Dr. Martin. He's the one that turned me into the conductor that I am today. He really shaped my musicianship and really taught me how to use my ears effectively. Dr. Jossam was a professor at my undergrad, Florida Southern College. She's the head music education professor and the wind ensemble conductor there. She is brilliant on the podium, brilliant ears, and a wonderful personality. But she's the one that taught me how to be an educator. She's the one that taught me what was right and what was wrong and how to do it the right way. I cannot thank these people enough for what they've done in my life, not only with music, but how they've shaped my career and shaped me into the person I am today. So thank you to my teachers, and don't forget to thank your teachers also on this Teacher Appreciation Week. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Rigolini Report. A couple of reminders before we go. You can always contact me through email at crigolini@dcsdk12.org. And don't forget to check your Google Classrooms for more assignments and updates. Join us next time when we talk to our very special guest, Mr. Zach Barker. Until then, happy practicing!